Legislative History, onLexis, and ProQuest Congressional Documents for the Environmental Legal Research course at Boston College Law School. In 1970, a company called CIS, Congressional Information Service, started collecting, indexing, and abstracting congressional hearings, reports, and committee prints. Unlike other companies providing legislative history materials at that time, they didn't just capture the documents associated with enacted laws, they indexed and abstracted every hearing, report, or committee print, and made those documents available on demand, so anyone could actually do comprehensive legislative history research. LexisNexis purchased CIS, but subsequently sold CIS to ProQuest, which provides the interface most users use for CIS content today, but Lexis still provides access to CIS. To access these materials through ProQuest, be sure to come in through the Boston College Law Library All Law Library Databases list to authenticate as a BC user. Coming in through the A to Z list, we arrive at the ProQuest Congressional Advanced Search page. Along the left side of the page, we can see the types of materials that ProQuest Congressional Documents provides access to. Notice that different types of materials have different years of coverage. These represent the materials that BC Law has access to through our subscription. Other libraries may provide access to more or less historical data. While we can apply limits after a search, if we choose our content type first, we can make better use of field searching. The more we know about what we are looking for, the easier it is to find things. For example, with a known public law number, we can use the pull-down menu at the top to select Search by Number. This provides us with a variety of ways to search for documents by their citations or other types of reference numbers, including bill number, public law number, and statutes at large citation. Let's try a search for Public Law 96510, which is CERCLA. On the bottom left, we can see some of the types of documents the search retrieved, and we can filter by document type. Above that, we can see that we could also filter by date or Congress. Let's start with the overview provided by the single legislative history. We land on this reference page that has very little information. Clicking on the title, we link to the legislative history document. This legislative history is in the form of an abstract. Along the left is a little index to the legislative history that let us jump to a particular part of this abstract. Here's a summary of what this law does. We also see subjects and descriptors, which were very important finding tools when this was only found by looking in a book, but are still useful when searching by topic rather than number. There are references to proceedings on the floor of both chambers of Congress in this bill under debates. This history does not include links to the text of the congressional record pages on which this bill was debated and voted on, but some do. This legislative history tracks not just the bill that was actually enacted, it gives some history of related bills from the 95th and 96th Congresses. There are hyperlinks to the text of the bills related to this law. The legislative history provides bibliographic information on congressional reports related to the enacted law, including a CIS number, which links to a CIS abstract of the referenced report. This abstract contains more information on the report. Newer report abstracts can contain a link to the full text of the report. Many older reports can be viewed on microfiche using the CIS number. The legislative history also contains references to all the hearings held on this legislation, often from multiple Congresses. The accession numbers on this legislative history link to CIS abstracts of the hearings. Hearing abstracts contain detailed information and links to PDFs of the full text of the hearing. The testimony section details the witnesses, the subjects they spoke on, and the pages of the hearing where the testimony can be found, making it easy to locate the testimony of a particular witness. Back in the legislative history, there is more bibliographic information on committee prints, and under the heading Miscellaneous Other Publications is bibliographic information on the presidential signing statement. What isn't obvious without a closer look is that while the original search results and the legislative history both contain many of the same documents, each contains some information not in the other. So a very thorough search of the legislative history would likely start with the CIS compiled legislative history, but continue with a search through the individual documents retrieved in our initial public law number search to find related documents not included in the compiled legislative history. If we don't have a public law number, we can search by keyword, subject, or title. There are also specific fields for some document types, the name or affiliation of a witness testifying before a committee, for example. As was mentioned earlier, the CIS abstracts and indexes are also available in Lexis Plus in the USCIS Index and UISCIS Historical Index databases. Here's how the CIS Legislative History of Public Law 96-510 looks on Lexis. CIS numbers in this legislative history hot link to other CIS abstracts of reports, hearings, and committee prints and documents in Lexis. Lexis also includes 14 compiled legislative history databases on environmental laws. To find them, first click on Statutes and Legislation and explore content by content type. Then link to Legislative Histories. This page provides links to the CIS Historical Index and USCIS Index databases, but also 14 environmental legislative history databases. These are mostly CIS legislative histories, but there is one from the Congressional Research Service and one from the Department of Interior Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement. Click the I for more information on the database, or the title to search the contents in that legislative history database.